Hello and welcome to Albuquerque Can Dance. I'm your host, Bianca L. Starr, on behalf of Albuquerque Dance Connect. Today, we have a lineup of some really incredible dancers. But before we get started, I've been asked to tell you a little bit about me, so you know a little bit about who's hosting the show. I am the founder and owner of Bianca Lily Ballet, Albuquerque's original and longest-standing all-adult dance studio, where we focus on teaching safe dance technique and ballet for the truly absolute beginner adult ballet student. But even though I love classical ballet, the last couple of years I took advantage of some opportunities, and I handed off a bunch of my classes to my teaching staff, went to Europe, and got to study some really exciting up-and-coming contemporary dance forms with amazing instructors and choreographers. It was a real wonderful experience. I got to spend 4 months in Berlin last summer in a dance residency. I got asked to guest teach in Paris, and I've been invited back to present at an international film conference in the fall. Unfortunately, it's looking like that might not be possible. But I love teaching ballet in Albuquerque, and I love working with Albuquerque Dance Connect to create more performance opportunities for professional dancers right here in New Mexico. So, enough about me. Let's move on to the show. John Vihil has made a name for himself, not just in the city of Albuquerque, and not just nationally, but internationally, as an acclaimed blues dancer. While blues dance tends to be more on the social side rather than performance side of dance, we couldn't have this episode without him. In our opinion, there was no way to leave John out. Not only was he the organizer who ran the weekly Berkeley Blues Dance in Albuquerque for 5 years, he's taken first place in dance competitions all over this nation. And last year, he was the headline teacher at a big blues dance workshop and festival in Korea. While John has a background in swing and Latin dance, it's primarily blues that he's famous for. So without further ado, John Vihil.
I don't care how long you're gone, I don't care how long you stay, but good kind treatment go bring you home someday. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore. You just keep on betting that the dice won't pass. Well, you know, darling, you are living too fast. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore. I'm gonna tell everybody in your neighborhood that you're the sweet little girl, but you don't mean me no good. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore. Well, I know you're leaving. Well, you call that gone. Well, without love, you can't stay long. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore. Well, goodbye, baby. Come on, shake my hand. I don't want no woman. You can have a man. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore.
dancer you are about to see is Elise Fahey. She was born and raised in Albuquerque and grew up studying lots of contemporary, jazz, modern, and ballet, both in Colorado and New Mexico. And she was so good that she ended up being a scholarship student in New York City at the Merce Cunningham School of Dance, which, by the way, if you are not a dance person, that's kind of a big deal. Recently, this last decade, she's been performing with the Jay Garcia Dance Company, Shift Dance, and a whole variety of independent dancers and choreographers. More recently, she's been submitting and premiering her own choreography at dance festivals in both Albuquerque and El Paso. Locally, she owns and operates Studio Sway. Elise is going to be doing two different kinds of dance pieces for us today, a contemporary piece and a jazz piece. The jazz piece is going to be a compilation of different jazz sequences that she developed in 2018, and it's the kind of thing you might sort of see in like music videos. The contemporary piece that Elise is performing for us today is a work in progress that she's been creating based on Greek mythology about a half woman, half serpent called Echidna.
I feel the thunder.
There are so many styles and types of street dance. Last episode, we featured a breakdancer. This episode, we are happy to bring you Alyssa Trujillo. And while she doesn't consider herself to be exclusively a street dancer or hip-hop dancer, she was willing to lean into the hip-hop side of things. Alyssa grew up in Gallup, New Mexico, where she started learning, teaching, and choreographing dance with Foundations of Freedom, which is a studio and community out there. She moved to Albuquerque in 2018 when she got accepted to the UNM dance department, and by 2022, she should have her BA in contemporary dance with a minor in arts leadership and business. She currently teaches hip-hop for Cachette, and we were really excited to have her on the show. She produces some pretty hot content on Instagram, so you might want to look her up at its.alleyoop on Instagram or Facebook.
So when I was invited to be a part of this project, I was asked to do hip-hop. And I grew up in Gallup, New Mexico, where I was a part of a pretty prominent hip-hop studio and community. However, I was really stuck with this question of what is hip-hop and what makes me a hip-hop dancer? And I didn't know what to create. And so I reached out to one of my friends, and he was like, I wouldn't worry about the hip-hop part. Your style is unique and different, and in my eyes, that's hip-hop. And I think that really stood out to me because I realized that, hip-hop is about individuality and being different and not being afraid to stand out. And also being in a community that supports that. And so I know right now with the pandemic going on, it's really hard to have physical contact or to feel like we are in a community. So my next question then was, well, how do I manifest hip hop and how has it played a role in my life? And I think for me, hip hop is really my approach. Hip hop is not just a dance, it's kind of a lifestyle. And I think that, in hip hop, we do a lot of freestyle or improvisation. And for me, it's always been about, kind of just going out and trying it and seeing what happens. And in that way, that's kind of what improv and freestyle is sort of learning as you go. And so I decided to go ahead and film a video of me doing improvisation or freestyle, and sort of see where this exploration took me. And honestly, it is a little bit challenging to do improvisation, especially for 4 minutes or longer. But I think it sort of allows me to be okay with the fact that I'm not going to love the entirety of it, or, sometimes it doesn't always work out the way you expect. But that's okay, and that's kind of part of the process. And I think that this work overall emphasizes the fact that it's process over product. Hip hop is, again, like I said, it's like a lifestyle. And so I think what this is for me is sort of learning to be okay with where I am, and being able to embrace that. And so that's really what this work's about, and that is hip hop.
A few years ago, Albuquerque got a gift in the form of Gina Marie Shorten when she moved here. While she grew up doing high levels of training in both dance and gymnastics, she went on to become a professional performer who toured both nationally and internationally with companies that did dance, street theater, and circus arts. She's had dance residencies in both Mexico and Colombia, and she's very well known on the circus arts scene here in Albuquerque and in New Mexico at large. But she's also a tremendous dancer, particularly when it comes to contemporary. She's really great at floor work and inversions, and I love taking class with her because of the challenges it brings me, not just physically, but artistically. So up next, Gina Marie Shorten.
To put this piece together, I started off doing a lot of improvisation and either repeating those threads that were satisfying to me or using film to go back and find out those really juicy sections of what was appealing to me and going back and relearning them. This piece is heavily influenced by release technique, using the body's own weight to create momentum like a ramp, using energy to release the muscles of the body to move from the bones and to move sequentially from one movement to the next. This piece was inspired by these words spoken by Alan Watts. If you talk all the time, you will never hear what anyone else has to say. And this touches me deeply in my personal life, but I think that there's a lot of mirrors also with what's going on around where we live. And by that I mean the fact that we live on land that was not ours and that it was taken unjustly from people who didn't deserve that. And one message that I have learned from the indigenous here and how we see them is to listen more than I speak. And the more that I resonate with this saying, the more I realize how much I need it. And I don't think I'm the only one. But that's what it comes back to. A simple breath. And knowing this too shall pass.
If you talk all the time, you'll never hear what anybody else has to say. And therefore all you'll have to talk about is your own conversation. The same is true for people who think all the time. That means, when I use the word think, talking to yourself, subvocal conversation, the constant chit-chat of symbols and images and talk and words inside your skull. Now, if you do that all the time, you'll find that you've nothing to think about except thinking. The moment you stop thinking, you become into immediate contact with what Korzybski called, so delightfully, the unspeakable world. The most ordinary sights and sounds, smells, the texture of shadows on the floor in front of you, All these things without being named and saying, that's the shadow, that's red, that's brown, that's somebody's foot. When you don't name things any longer, you start seeing them. Because, say, when a person says, I see a leaf, immediately one thinks of a spearhead-shaped thing outlined in black and filled in with flat green. No leaf looks like that. No leaves are not green. That's why Lao Tzu said, the 5 colors make a man blind, the 5 tones make a man deaf. Because if you can only see 5 colors, you're blind. And if you can only hear 5 tones in music, you're deaf. If you force sound into 5 tones, you force color into 5 colors, you're blind and deaf. The world of color is infinite, as is the world of sound. And it is only through stopping, fixing conception on the world of color and sound that you really begin to hear it and see it. So, let me say again, I'm not talking about the ordering of ordinary everyday life in a reasonable and methodical way as being school teacherish. I'm saying it's nice if you were nice people, that's what you would do. For heaven's sake, don't be nice people. But the thing is that unless you do have that basic framework of a certain kind of order and a certain kind of discipline, the force of liberation will blow the world to pieces. It's too strong a current for the wire.
Thanks for joining us on Albuquerque Can Dance today. Looking forward to the next episode. We'll have 4 more dancers for you. On behalf of Albuquerque Dance Connect, I'm Bianca L. Starr. See you next time.